Once we move away from the initial plan from the customer, the next thing that we start looking at is who are we engaged with. And this is where we start looking at the influence grid. These are the members of the decision-making unit. I'm going to call it the DMU, just for short as we get through for today. But this is a unit of decision-making people. Very rarely in business these days is there one decision-maker for any deal. Now, you may only be talking to one person, but invariably there is a bigger unit of people engaged in every decision. There are two types of influencer in the decision-making unit, and they fall into 6 different roles, 6 different categories. So the first type of decision-making unit influencer you're going to come across will be the economic, operational, or specifier. These 3 roles always exist in every decision-making unit. Even if you don't know it, even if you're not meeting them, even if they're not making themselves known to you, they are always there. The reason for this is that in the decision-making unit, everyone has got a view on the money. So every member of the DMU will be talking pound signs to you. Everyone will talk money. The economic influencer, when they talk money to you, they actually mean return on investment. They have access to the funds, which is the investment, and they have expectations of the return. That makes the return on investment formula. These are the people who recognise from the very early stage of the plan why we're going to change. If it's a problem we're going to take advantage of, how much is it going to cost us, and how are we going to fix it, and what are we losing at the moment if we don't fix it. If it's an opportunity we're going for, how much are we prepared to invest, and when will we know that that opportunity has returned its best? So the economic influencer sets the return on investment formula. So these are the people, when they say, I'm putting £100 as an investment and I want 10 times the return on investment, they are looking for £1,100 in their pocket. Now that's different, if you like, to the operational influencer. Because when the operational influencer talks money to you, they talk budget. This is the money that's allocated to them to do the job. Now there's usually only one economic influencer, but there's lots of operational influencers in every deal. Usually so many as that in every sales deal I've ever been involved in, I probably have never fully understood all of the operational influencers. So what we look for is we look for the key operational influencers, and these might be the senior people who will be delivering the return on investment, or the senior people who appear to be controlling the budget funds. And the budget funds come from the I in investment. So when the economic influencer says, this is how much I want to invest, that then becomes as a cascade down the budget. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. So when we look at the budget for these people will spend the £100 that they've been given. Quite often what you'll find is, in an operational sense, they will spend up to the budget they're given to ensure that the job gets done properly. Because these are the people involved in the hands-on relationship with your product or service after it's been decided. That's why they're in the DMU before the decision. Because they have a big say on how we're going to make this return on investment. So if we're going to buy a service that is going to enable us to increase productivity, I'm going to be the person who will be running the increased productivity. Therefore, I need a say in who we're going to be dealing with. Do I trust this supplier? Do I like it? Can I work with it? If we're looking for a problem that needs to be solved, which is cost cutting, and we're going to go to a new consultancy or a new supplier who is going to help us to cut the costs, this person needs to believe in him. And they need to see the activity and the milestones of cost cutting, so they will commit to this person. Yes, I will spend this money to deliver the resolution to the problem of costs. So when we start looking at these people, economic influencers are interested in return on investment, operational influencers are interested in budgetary expenditure. Then when we get to the specifier, usually found in the purchasing department, found in legal, internal or external legal advocates, or maybe even accountancy or contractual parts of the business. So the specifiers will be looking at the terms and conditions, SLAs, and the price. Now they won't have any budget to spend, and they won't be setting the return on investment formula. They may not even know the reason for change. So they may not know what the problem or the opportunity is. All they know is what they've been told to buy. So if they've been told to buy a new truck, and they've been given a price, £100,000, they might not know that the new truck is because the old one is breaking down and letting customers down, or that the new truck is to take advantage of a new route for a new account, which we're going to make money on. So they don't know if it's a problem or an opportunity resolution. All they know is they want a lower price. So when you talk to people involved in the specifier, what they're saying is, give me a lower price. If this person, if she is told the specifier that she's got £100 to spend, how much do you think this person says they have to spend when they talk to you?
80.
80, 75, 70, 50 if they're just being cheeky. But the one thing you won't hear from this person is £100. Because the minute they mention £100, that's the figure you're going to go towards as an acceptable and possible sales arena. What they want is a lower price. Of course, they can do this with impunity because they're not actually involved in the delivery of the £100 worth of value, and very rarely are they tasked with the return on investment formula. This person will be tasked with the return on investment formula, and this person sets it. So these people are always in the decision-making unit all the time. The problem comes is if you only have access to one of these. And the biggest problem comes if the only person you have access to is here. So if you're trying to sell a value proposition to an organisation, you're trying to sell a value proposition to someone who's got a problem or an opportunity, and you're selling to the buyer, you will never sell a true value proposition. Two reasons. Number one is these people don't usually know what it is. They don't know what the value and the return on investment is. And the second, it's not in their interest to allow you to sell value. They just want a cheaper price so they can move on to another project. The next level, and the next type of person you will come across, is the people who are sometimes involved in the DMU. So we always have economic operational specifier, always. Sometimes we have a coach. Now a coach is a member of the company you're selling to, and probably a pal of yours, maybe even a past contact, someone you've sold to, someone you've had a good relationship but works with the customer you're selling to, but they are not in the decision-making unit. So the coach will have no power in this decision, but may be able to give you some information. May tell you where the people to be trusted are, may tell you maybe a little bit about the current way of working, maybe even have an identification of some knowledge of the budget, but they won't have any power over the return on investment formula, they won't have any power over how they spend the money, or even whether or not there's a target price set. But a coach is useful just for find out which way the wind's blowing. Now, the coach is different to the champion, and a lot of people get these mixed up. The coach is your pal, but has no power. The champion is someone who will be going to bat for your deal, but they will be a member of the decision-making unit. And perversely, they may not be a friend of yours. People don't have to be your pal to champion your cause. Why? Because people champion the cause when there's something in it for them, not you. So if they see you as the only way of achieving their goals, and they don't like your company, they don't like your product, and they don't like you personally, they might still buy from you if it achieves their goals. Now obviously, the ideal would be to have champions at all levels in the DMU. Have a champion at the economic influencer makes it a very good chance of you getting the business. Having champions at operational level actually gives a very good support to the return on investment formula and the value proposition. And then having the champion at the specifier level doesn't actually promote you winning the business, but it stops you being vetoed quickly or kicked out of the tendering process too soon. Now, if we have the opportunity for the champion, because people like us or they like our products, and it's useful to them, so it's not just enough that they think we're good, it has to be useful to them achieve their goals, If we have the opportunity for a champion, so does the competition. And if the competition have the possibility of a similar relationship, that can't be good for us. So if we have champions and the competition have them, we have to regard the person who is championing the competition as an anti-champion. Now that is seriously bad. And the more senior the anti-champion in the decision-making unit, the more difficult it's going to make you to make a value proposition stick and win the deal.